Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. Hope you all are having a wonderful Thursday morning or afternoon, depending on what part of the country you're in. It's morning time here in Seattle, and it's raining. I think I give you guys a weather report every time, but, I have to confirm that, yes, it is raining. No snow. We had snow around Christmas time, but rain for sure. But it's a great day. I'm really excited to dive into the content we have planned for you today. Before we dive into that, I want to kind of go over some logistics just so everyone is aware of some information that we have available about this webinar. First off, I'm going to share my screen in just a second here. All right, so you should see Zillow Group Lender Academy on your screen. This has information about where you can find additional webinars plus the recording of this webinar, which will be available tomorrow afternoon. So you can check under the Resource Center under the webinar section, and if you click on Mortgage News You Can Use, there will be a playlist from YouTube where you can see all of our webinar recordings for this series. And then, of course, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us. Webinar-specific questions or topics you want to see us talk about in the future, you can reach out to mortgagewebinars@zillowgroup.com. And if you have any questions about your profile or need some help with that kind of thing, then you can reach out to mortgagesupport@zillowgroup.com. And if you have any questions, feel free to pop that into the Q&A section. You should see a little floating toolbar or something on your screen. You can pop the question there, and we'll be able to take a look at that and monitor that throughout the webinar and make sure that we get those questions answered. We will reserve most of our questions for the end of the webinar to make sure we have time to cover everything, so we do have a lot of stuff to cover. For those of you who have never attended one of our webinars before and you're not sure who I am, my name is Mary Weiss, and my role here within Zillow Group Mortgages is to provide all of our content. So that means I run our Lender Academy and run all these webinars. I'm in charge of all the training materials and things that you see on our site under the Lender Resource Center and Lender Academy. If you have any questions or want to reach out to me directly, my email is there on the screen, marywe@zillowgroup.com. And today I have Jessica Schwab with me, and I'll let her introduce herself and give a little information about what she does here.
Hi, it's great to be here with you today, Mary. I'm actually in our Lincoln, Nebraska office, and we actually just missed a snowstorm, so we're really excited about that. We didn't get too much snow here, so that was great news, actually. So, I am on our customer support team, and we assist all of our lenders with their Zillow profiles, with review questions, and then we also help our sales team in the Seattle office too. So we do a wide variety of things throughout our day, but our biggest thing is really helping our lenders. So this is just another facet for us to be able to get in front of you and help you with your questions and be proactive in strategies.
Well, thanks for being here today. Like I said before, we have a lot of stuff to cover. One of the things that we didn't actually have any updates to talk about. We generally try to give out information about all the updates that affect your profiles and your reviews, but there weren't any specific updates to go over at this time. So maybe next month we'll have more to discuss on that. So we're going to actually just dive right in and talk about what you can do to stay relevant and to essentially take advantage of your free Zillow Group profile, making sure that you're getting the most out of it and actually getting more business from that resource. Pull up the next slide here, which, the picture pulled up, but not the point. Just a second. There you go. So Jessica, I'll kind of hand that off to you and to talk about what kinds of things on their profile make them that everyone should be mindful of to stay relevant. There we go.
Sure. So first and foremost, we have information on your Zillow profile that we have two different types of information. Information that feeds directly from the consumer NMLS website, and that information is going to be your employment information. So that is a field, if you get into your edit profile screen, that you'll notice is locked down. You don't have the ability to make any changes to that. And that just gets filled in directly from the consumer NMLS site. So it's super convenient. If you have an employment change, that information syncs with our site on a daily basis. And then you can just go in, update your profile, and your new employer information will be available for selection. But then there are a lot of other things in your profile that you need to make sure are updated. And this isn't always when there's an employment change. Maybe you've moved offices, like your physical address has changed, phone numbers have changed, your website maybe has changed. So you want to make sure that you're getting in and reviewing that information, I would say at least on a yearly basis, if not maybe twice a year, just to make sure that that information is still pertinent. And if someone's trying to get in contact with you, they know how to reach you. So your contact information is editable by you if you get into your edit profile screen. So like I said, phone numbers, website, address, and then the other important element to take into consideration is your about section. So we see this time and time again where people have changed employers and they maybe have an old employer name listed in their about section, but they're working for someone new. You really want to make sure that you get in there and that you're updating that. I feel like that is a field where you can get in and make changes to that on a regular basis. Not only do you want to include your maybe employer or your bio from your website that you have maybe through your employer's website, also make it personal. Include some information that makes it more of a personable profile to look at. So most people want to get on and feel like they have some type of connection with the person that they're potentially going to be working with for their mortgage loan or a refinance situation. So try to get in, make it a little bit personable. You don't have to divulge a ton of personal information, but just make it a friendly about section. So those are definitely my tips for making sure your profile is up to date, current, and providing that potential borrower with the most pertinent information to you at the time.
One of the things I used to talk about with my lenders on the phone when I was still an account manager was what kind of information is helpful for borrowers and consumers to see on their profile. And one thing that I think is really helpful is to tie yourself back to your community. So if you're really involved in volunteer work, or maybe you have kids who are on sports teams, or you're a part of a PTA or something like that, you can talk about something along those lines that tie you back to that community, because the likelihood of someone else reading that and thinking, oh, well, that sounds like somebody I want to work with because I have similar interests. I think that's really helpful, because we all can have a professional profile and we can all talk about all the great things we do in our work lives. But essentially, there's that personality and that connection that comes from that personal side that you just don't get. If you go to LinkedIn, you don't really see a lot of personality there. You don't see a lot of personality in resumes. This really isn't the place for your resume necessarily. It's the place to say, hey, I'm here to help you, and I'm tied to the same community that you live in. We have similar interests. I am someone that you can relate to. I get it. This is not an easy thing. Mortgages are scary, so I want to help break that down and make it as easy as possible for you. So that's kind of where I like to coach on what kinds of pieces to put into that about me, just to make it a little bit easier for people to want to reach out to you. And another thing is like your profile picture. You want your picture to be kind of inviting, maybe not from 1986. Unfortunately, I think we've all seen a profile where the pictures are really old, and we can tell that they're little old, outdated hairdos, mullet or something from the 80s. We've all seen those weird profiles, so if you don't have an updated profile picture, you really should. If anything, you can easily get someone to take a picture of you with, your cell phone or something. Just, have a clean background, maybe not orange. I am just in the room with orange walls. It's part of Trulia's color scheme. So anyway, that's pretty easy to do. So we have a couple of questions coming in. So Stephen is asking about having an assistance email for contact information, so that when leads come in, there's another person who receives the contact. I think there's a couple parts to that in different ways that we can answer that. And it depends, of course, if you're advertising with long form or if you're just talking about general profile contacts. So Jessica, I'll let you talk more about having multiple email addresses on their profile.
Sure. You are on your regular Zillow profile, we're only able to have one email address attached to that account, and that's due to logging in. We don't have the ability to have multiple logins to be able to email that information out. If you are advertising and you're either doing co-marketing or our Zillow long form, you do have the ability to integrate with maybe a CRM that you're using. And if you don't, I believe that we can make some recommendations for those as well. And then you would be able to, do some forwarding setups and all of that. So, but on your regular free Zillow profile, that is not something that we have the ability to do. While we're talking about your Zillow, your free profile, you may find that you're receiving emails about profile contacts. And these are actually free profile contacts that someone's landed on your page and they want to get in contact with you. They have some, maybe questions, want to talk with you about mortgages. They're great free contacts. So you can find these if you are in your Zillow account and you go to Lender Hub and you'll see them in your overview screen under contacts. You should also receive an email about it as well. So that's something that we always like to remind people on so they can get those free contacts. And that's just for, having your account and someone landed on your page.
Absolutely. So we have quite a few more questions coming in. So Pat is asking about the license and sponsored information and where is it coming from? And Pat, for example, is missing one of their state licenses.
So Pat, what's happening with your account is you're set up with your employer. If you go to your company or your individual NMLS page, you'll see that your company sponsorship is updated. But then if you scroll all the way to the bottom of the page, it's going to list your individual states out. And if you click on that particular state that you're missing, you'll notice that your sponsorship is missing from your employer. So basically what your employer needs to do, it'll be an action that they will have to take for you, is they just need to update that you're sponsored, you're able to sponsor them in that particular state. So it's a pretty easy fix. Once your employer gets that updated on the NMLS site, it should update to our site within a couple of days. And it will just happen automatically. So there's nothing that you need to do except for just inform your employer, and they'll be able to take care of that.
I think this also kind of ties into what Dan's question is about a DBA not showing up in the list of names that the company names. So again, if your company name or your DBA isn't showing there, it needs to be updated within the NMLS. And sometimes your company actually has to go in and make sure they add that on their side to make sure that we can pull it from the NMLS directly. So Dan, I hope that answers your question. If anything, maybe reach out to your compliance team because they might be the ones to be able to update that in the NMLS for you. So we have a couple of other questions. So if you're having trouble with your picture, your profile picture not fitting, or maybe you have more specific questions about your profile, we can take this offline and help you there. So we want to make sure that we can assist you one-on-one and give you all the support that you need. That way we can also, focus on a couple other topics that we wanted to cover today, but we do want to answer your questions, so you can reach out to mortgagesupport@zillowgroup.com. We'll have a poll at the end where you can indicate that you would like a follow-up, and we'll make sure that you get followed up with as well if you prefer for us to reach out to you directly. So we'll kind of move forward here. We're also going to talk a little bit more about reviews and sharing reviews and how that's going to help your business to tie back into the topic of how to use your profile to gain new business. So we recently talked a lot about how many updates we've made to our reviews platform. And one of the updates that we've made is being able to share reviews, and you can share it on social and everything. So we have a screenshot here that shows you exactly where you can go on a specific review on your profile and how to share that on your anywhere, so social media, emails, wherever. So Jessica, you had some points that you wanted to talk about and how to actually personalize a message, and also some tips on where to go to find out the status of reviews and things like that. So I'll let you take it away from there.
Sure. So the screen that you're seeing right now, that is something that you will see actually on your main profile. So you'll see all of your reviews listed at the bottom, towards the bottom of that main page. And by each review, you'll have the ability to go in and share a review. And so what we're finding is lenders are liking this because they're able to share very specific good reviews to their social media and to their borrowers via email. And one tip that I would have is when you're sending out your request to your borrowers that you've completed loans with, go ahead and throw in a couple of reviews. This allows them to see what's already been written about you, and then make sure that you provide them with your review link or your profile link. And either way, they can get to your review to leave reviews for you on your page. But that just allows them to see other people are leaving you reviews, and they can kind of get some ideas. So I think probably the biggest reason why people don't write a review is because they don't know what to write. So if you put those good reviews out in front of people and allow them to see other things that have been written about you, it gives them a little bit more context of what's involved in writing a review on our site. A couple of other things, make sure that you're personalizing your messages out to your past borrowers when you're requesting reviews. A lot of people say that, they maybe have to ask people a couple of times to write a review. So, start out that process by mentioning it while you're helping with their mortgage loan. And then also after you're done with that loan, make sure it doesn't take you very long to get that out. Maybe get it out within the same day or following day. And you're probably going to see a better response in getting that review written on your page. Like I said, make sure that you're personalizing that and maybe including a couple of other reviews that people have posted for you by using this share review link. And I think you'll see an increase in your numbers. The other thing that I wanted to touch on here is also your reviews page that you have accessible through your Lender Hub. What you're going to find on this page is your review link that you can actually send out to your past clients. And so you can actually just copy and paste that right into an email and send that off to your clients. And then you'll also see on the bulk of the page, depending on how many reviews you have so far, that page is going to fill with your reviews that have either been published, pending, or returned to the borrower. So I'm just going to go through these so everyone's clear on what the statuses mean. Of course, published means that it's actually been published to your profile, and you can actually go to your profile and see that review. You'll also see pending, which is waiting to be moderated. So we have a dedicated moderation team that moderates reviews, and you'll be able to know when that's actually hit our system and it's just waiting to be moderated. If you see that, it typically takes 3 to 5 business days for those reviews to get posted or have been decisioned on our site. So at that time, it'll either become published or returned to the borrower. Return to the borrower means basically there was something in the review that we needed to have edited by that borrower. The borrower receives a specific email letting them know what actions need to be taken in order for their review to be resubmitted and re-moderated in our system. So those are the 3 statuses that you're going to see on this reviews page. I always tell everyone it's a great page to watch on a regular basis, especially if you're doing a lot of review requests. As it's just a great way to keep a status and a pulse on what's going on for you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for kind of sharing some of the details there. I hope that's helpful for everyone. We've gotten quite a few questions that have come in since. How to request reviews. I think we touched on that. Essentially, different timing depends on when you feel comfortable reaching out. I'd like to say make sure it's consistent throughout your time of working with a client to make sure that it's kind of a set expectation that you want them to leave your review, so it's not just this last minute thing. So, you know, when you first reach out, let's say they come to you from Zillow and you reach out for that first time, well, great, I have the goal of providing excellent customer service so that by the time you're ready to leave me a review, you'll have some great points to talk about, you know, something like that. You plant those seeds, and then let's say you get a clear to close and you're ready to move them forward and they're really excited. That's a great time to reach out and ask for that review and say, hey, I've got some closing docs here, whatever. I'm sending all this over to you. By the way, I also have a link here. Please leave me a review on my Zillow profile. This really helps me out. This is part of the process for them if you include it with those closing docs or whatever you're sending over, so that they know that that's just part of it. And, you know, if they don't leave you a review, then just keep following up. And when you do send out the request for the review link, there is a review link in their Lender Hub, and Jessica was just talking about that. Lender Hub, click on reviews, and you'll see it at the very top. It's just this little bar, and it has a copy link button. Just click it, and you immediately have this nice link that you can share anywhere. So social, emails, texting even. If you like to text your clients, you can pop that into a text message and say, hey, you can leave me a review pretty quickly. It takes less than 5 minutes, and they can do that from their mobile phone. It is really helpful. So I hope that answers your question, Chaya. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And David as well. You also have a second point to your question about what's the best way to have clients give a review, and do they need an account, and is there a link? So we answered two parts of that. So Jessica, would you answer about what consumers need or borrowers need in order to leave a review?
Sure. So yes, in order to leave a review on our site, a consumer does need to create an account. They'll be prompted to either set up an account or sign into their current account when you provide them that link. So it's the first step in order to leave a review on our site. It's really easy. I mean, you just send them the link, they click on it, they're either going to log in or create an account if they don't already have one on our site. So very, very easy.
And another question here is about asking to recap on the review status. Where exactly is that at in their profile?
Sure. So you will find your reviews page by clicking on Lender Hub in the top right-hand corner. And then along the top middle bar on the page, you'll see reviews. And just click on that reviews tab, and then that'll take you directly to your reviews page.
So we actually have a screenshot in the next part that we're going to cover, and where we're going to talk about updating your billing information. So I'll go ahead and get that pulled up here so that we can show you where that's at. And then we'll also move on in talking about our final point, and then we'll let the last part of the webinar, the last few minutes, go into the final questions that we're getting from the audience. You should see where it says mortgages, and there's overview, billing, advertising, co-marketing, reviews. Reviews there in that blue bar is where we're talking about. If you click on that, that's where you'll find your review link and the statuses and all of the reviews that have been published or are pending on your profile. So hopefully that helps. It's all in one place. One-stop shop. So Jessica, will you go into updating card information? I know this was something that you wanted to cover as well, as this is some questions that you've been getting quite a bit on the support side.
Sure. Yes, there's a couple of different ways for people to update their credit cards. This is only going to be for people that are doing advertising on our site, either with Zillow Longform or co-marketing. So the first method that you're seeing is actually for Zillow Longform. You'll find this page if you go to Overview, which is highlighted there in blue. And all you're going to need to do is just hit the Manage Funds button. And that'll take us to the next screen. And you'll either be able to update or edit credit cards in here. You can also add new cards. and you can make cards default cards as well. If you need to delete a card, you can just click on that one that you're needing to delete and then actually hit the delete card button, or update that card as well. So this is where you're going to do all of the updates for your Zillow long form cards. And it's really important that if you have a credit card change that you get in and get that updated so it doesn't affect any of your advertising with us. So that'll be the first step for Zillow long form. The next option is going to be for co-marketing. You'll be at that same page, and then you'll just hit the Manage Co-marketing Cards option there. And this takes you to your co-marketing dashboard. So it's going to show you a list of all of the lenders that you're advertising with for co-marketing, or excuse me, agents that you're co-marketing with. And you're going to hit the Edit button next to the last 4 digits of the card. Update the information just like you would, and just follow through the steps and then hit update. And so your cards are updated in there as well for co-marketing. The only thing that I'll mention for co-marketing is you have to do this for every agent that you're co-marketing with. So one card update does not update all cards in co-marketing.
Yeah, it's really important, because if you don't, if the card doesn't go through, the payment doesn't go through for whatever reason, then the agent will be charged the full amount, and there won't be any way to remedy that. We won't be able to run the payment through again for that month. So it's really important to make sure that if you know your card's expired, to get that updated before the billing goes through, because otherwise you might have an agent who has an unexpected pop on their card that month, and it's definitely not a good thing to have a surprise charge. So it's always good to do that. We also had some questions, and for those of you who are not familiar with our advertising platform, I wanted to give you an opportunity to learn a little bit more about what we offer with Longform. If you go into our mortgages tab, you might see that there's a screen there that says Zillow Mortgages. We have hundreds of participating lenders. And it essentially asks for borrowers to enter in their information and go through this form, which we call long form. So basically how that works is consumers go through and answer different questions about their unique situation. We find that about 75% of them do not have an agent yet, and that's a question that they're answering within the long form questionnaire. And then at the end of that, they get connected with a lender who's local, and this is where those reviews tie back in, and how it's really important for you to be consistent on getting reviews, because if you are advertising with us, those reviews are things that consumers and borrowers look at when deciding if they want to follow up with you. So to kind of go back into that, reviews are part of our platform, where we look at who's getting consistent reviews and who's getting recent reviews as a way to say, yes, you're someone that we want our borrowers to talk to, because we know that they'll get a great experience because you're being consistent about providing great service to your existing clients, the ones who are leaving your reviews. So if this is something that you are interested in learning more about, you're not required to do this, but if you're interested, we'll be happy to follow up with you. You can send us an email at Mortgage Webinars, or you can say, yes, I'll have a poll launched here in just a minute where you can indicate that you want to follow up. And then, of course, if you just have any questions, you can say yes as well to that question. We'll make sure someone is able to follow up with you. I know we've had a lot of questions come in, and I am hopeful that we'll be able to get some of those questions answered for you if you say yes in that follow-up. But we'll answer 2 more questions, and then we'll have to end because we are almost at time. Going back to reviews, reviews cannot come from any other website, so you won't be able to import reviews or transfer reviews from another site. Jessica, can you kind of explain a little bit about what the moderation part looks like and the reasons why we don't allow for reviews to come in from other websites?
Sure. The biggest thing is that we require every account or every review to be tied to an account that has been created on Zillow. So that's the biggest thing. If we're importing reviews, that would not happen. And also our review questionnaire is entirely different than probably any other review questionnaire out there. So it would need to match up, and that doesn't. So it's really just more about technical checks, making sure that it's a real person leaving that review for you. We want to make sure that your people are coming and leaving a review on Zillow. So that's really the biggest reasons.
And then our final question, and again, we'll follow up with everyone else who has additional questions, but there's some questions about Zillow versus Trulia. What does it mean if you have a profile on Zillow, and what does it mean if you have a profile on Trulia? And do the reviews go on each site, or how does that work?
Yeah, they actually do. So if you have a Zillow profile, you will have a Trulia profile as well. Most people aren't aware of it maybe, but information is transferred between the two sites. So everything that you see on Zillow, you'll see on Trulia as well. So if a consumer is looking on Trulia and they want to be connected with a mortgage lender, they will see the exact same information. So they'll still be able to find you through Trulia. No additional account is needed. It happened automatically. So you do not need to go on and register a new account or anything like that. It's there for you.
Perfect. Well, again, if you have any additional questions and you need a follow-up, our support team's happy to help. The email is there on the screen, mortgagesupport@zillowgroup.com. And finally, for those of you who missed the very beginning of the webinar, if you would like to access the recording of this webinar, if you need to go back through and kind of go through some of the points that we've discussed today, we will have the recording available tomorrow, as in Friday afternoon, and it will be available on our resource center. So if you click on webinars and go into the mortgage support news you can use, you'll see a playlist there where you can see all of our past recordings. If you have any further questions or suggestions on topics or anything that you need to follow up on, our information is there, mortgage webinars or mortgage support at zillowgroup.com. Please check out the other resources we have on our site. We have a lot of articles and case studies and things like that that will hopefully help you in your business. So without further ado, we want to thank you again for taking time out of your busy days to join us and to learn a little bit more about your profiles. We hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Jessica, for being here as well.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.